Now, I don't know if you guys noticed or not. I'll talk about it here shortly. Another little win, but I got a little bit of a different background. I don't know. All right. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Robert Blakely, and welcome to our Monday Mastermind part of the Lost Transition. If you're watching us there on YouTube, feel free to come join us live. You can go to live.thelosttransition.com. We meet here every Monday, bunch of entrepreneurs. We share our success stories, share our wins, and then we go into a little bit of a training component, if you will. We've got the 52 weeks this whole year already planned out. So every single week, we're going to give you an instructional piece where you're able to kind of take notes, learn a little bit, and then also interact within the mastermind itself, ask questions, things like that, give your feedback. So we've been doing this now for 4 years, over 4 years, going on 5 years. Pretty excited about this. Have not missed not one day. Attaboy, pack on the back. And today, as I briefly mentioned when we first started, this is week 3. This is going to be the story that you tell yourself. So I want to kind of pre-qualify what's going on here today before we get into the wins. So the information I'm going to share with you today, you might have heard some of it. You might have heard some here and there. But what I'm looking for today is for you to really pay attention and to let the information that I'm sharing with you land. Okay, that means actually let it land, because being that we're on week 3, this is the important part about starting off in an entrepreneurial journey is getting the mindset right. I know a lot of people hear about mindset. Sometimes you hear it so much that you're just tired of hearing it. But it's super important that your mind is in the right place before you begin any venture, especially if you're looking at doing something with network marketing. So our Monday Masterminds, what we do here is we teach a little bit about how to go from the job to freedom, right? In essence, we want to do what we can to teach people that even if you have something that you're really passionate about, that you love and enjoy to do, you could potentially turn that into an income. And that income could potentially outgrow whatever it is that you're doing in your job that you may or may not like. Not everybody likes their job, right? But as an entrepreneur and network marketer for over 35, 38, some odd years, I enjoy the flexibility and freedom of working for myself when I want to and doing what I want when I want to do it. Right. So I think you all can kind of agree with me on that. And hey, hello, Vicky. Hi, Jorge. Glad you guys made it. So that's what we're going to be going into today. But as you guys know, we always start the show off with some wins from last week. And last week, and even over this weekend, it was quite phenomenal. I'm not going to give everything out. I'll wait to the end, but I think that we've got quite a few wins to share. So if you want to raise your hand and get in line, I'd love to hear your wins and live vicariously through you guys. And let's again get this party started. Hi, Donna. Glad you made it. Anybody going to get us started? Who's got some wins they want to share? Go ahead, Vicky. You look all bundled up. It's cold over there, huh?
Yeah, we've had several. We had tons of relatives from Tennessee, and it's been in the 30s, and we had to stand outside a lot. So I'm about frozen solid, but we're warming up a little bit today. But
Good.
it's going to be cold in the morning times, especially the next couple of days. But
Yeah.
I'm excited because we're having lunch tonight, finally, with the one company that I'm with, and one thing that it made me feel it made me help believing in myself even more. Is that in one of the meetings recently, it was stated that the PDF file that I made and did, the network marketing mindset path, was a marquee product and their decision to monetize that program. So I think that is really cool. I think that's really cool. So
So
that made me
let me
really proud.
understand what you just said. So you created a graphic or something, and you were the one that motivated the company
Now
to,
that's a 12-week mindset marketing mind network marketing mindset path PDF that I created. And
yeah.
I had created it specifically for this group.
Uh-huh.
And now they're when they launched the 3.0, it's moving over into the monetization side, and they said it was one of the marquee products. So it made me feel really proud because of I had hoped that everybody would get great value of it when I wrote it, and that's why I gave it out to begin with. And each week when I do the 5 minutes of mindset talk on Wednesday night, I elaborate on that section that goes along with the book. So we're just cycling it over and over again so that any new people can get the benefit of it. So it's exciting to me.
That's pretty
So
cool. Congrats on
that
that.
gave me the confidence. I know that the stuff that I am writing and doing is of great value. And
Absolutely.
so that's what I needed to sink it in my brain that Vicky Osgood Watley is back and I am here and I am unleashed
That's
and I am
it,
not going
girl.
back.
Woo!
That's what I needed. So,
I
yay.
love it. Love it. And congratulations, girl. I always love hearing your wins, and we know that you've come a long way, and you literally had to struggle and fight and climb your way to where you're at now. So it's always amazing to hear all these new updates.
My goal in 2026, though, is to get, now that I've worked on my health, I've worked on my mindset. Of course, those will be continuing things, work in progress.
Amen.
I've also, just since last Monday, I've almost got TennesseeFix.com rebuilt. I've almost got KeepYourTrafficMoving.com rebuilt. And so I'm like trudging along, and those things, I had put on the back burner for so long, and because of they had accidentally got deleted by my host, and so I was having to rebuild them. But now they're rebuilt with purpose,
Right
and
on.
so I think that's awesome. Great
Someone's
to see
been
how eventually I can put like blend it right in with the lost transition, because to me sales and psychology is so important, and there's nobody better at that than you. So
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. I
mhm.
appreciate that. I really do. Man, you just made me lose my train of thought on that.
Sorry.
Oh, no, no, no.
I'll
It's
be
okay.
quiet.
No, I was going to say what you said was perfect because we talk about this all the time, right? It doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to get out there. And then you will come to a point in your career, your life, or whatever, that it has to be rebuilt or done the right way or redone with purpose, especially when we learn new things, right? So kudos to you, girl. I'm really happy to hear this. And it's even cooler too with the advantageousness of artificial intelligence. And I keep saying this, like, how cool is it that now we can get all these ideas out of our head and on paper, right, for other people to see, which then creates instant value for people. So kudos to you, girl. Congratulations. Keep on climbing, girl. Keep on climbing. Thank
Now
you.
we're working on the financial end for 2026, and I think it's off to a good start because you're going to be launching soon. Okay, PS is launching. Great Life is adding their done for you system, and it's all going to be blending perfect. So I really believe this year is going to be one great year. So
That's
I
awesome.
have high hopes.
I say everybody in this room, if you agree, you should claim it now. I believe the same thing. I think 2026 is going to be an absolute year of prosperity for those that get involved and, dig into the trenches and such. I don't know if you know yet, but as far as the lost transition, the way that we have it set up, same thing. I've been diligently working like a feverish cat on a cap on the Mac here. We're taking all the HTML pages, turning them into PHP. The way that I've got it set up is to where people will be able to join for free. They'll be able to join for monthly or they'll be able to join for yearly. So if they join for free, they share, they can earn 20% commissions. So they can earn their way in and buy their way up. The monthly will earn 50% commissions and then yearly will earn 60% commissions. So 60% is pretty high. I don't know if you guys know what the industry standard is. typically in between 10 to 15. So I'm pretty excited about this. Ultimately, I'm doing this because I'm not doing this for the money. Imagine that. Imagine that, right? Ultimately, I want to create this so that we have another resource, right? Again, getting from that job to that time freedom is enabling yourself to have multiple streams of income or more income coming in so that you could do the things that you know and love, right? So I'm looking forward to it. Probably about a week, 2 weeks out. I don't want to jinx myself on it, but we're coming along quite nicely. So thank you for sharing, Vicky. Dale, what you got, brother? I know you got some wins. You were working hard this weekend. You feverishly as well. You want to unmute yourself and let us know your wins, brother?
Yeah, I just like rediscovered Chat GPT this weekend. I am definitely in the embrace the AI mode. Um, I just Robert and I had a one-on-one last week and discussed some things about Facebook and about creating a group. So discussing my target audience, which makes sense since I'm 50 and older. What better audience to have and to talk to is that group, right? Because um, you know those are people that are more likely going to relate to me since I am one of those people, right? Someone who is in that age group and can better understand the struggles and the thought process that someone who is in that age group would have, right? So um, I decided, or Robert and I decided to create a group in Facebook, and we were talking about different names and that we would call it, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to put in the chat, so you guys, if you
Yeah,
want,
yeah, yeah.
you
It's fine.
you can take a look um, at it. I didn't rename it yet,
Okay.
but it's called the. Let me just go to the second act income builders 50 plus.
Love it.
And that's the name of the group. And if you look at that, it's totally and completely created by AI.
Love
The
it.
the header is
I don't want
created by.
to cut you off, Dale, but that link that you sent us for Dale's Freedom Project, I don't see anything coming up. It says content isn't available right now. Just you might want to check on that
Well,
later.
okay. Well,
So,
anyway,
you
it's it's the header was created from AI. That created Chat GPT. I connected Canva, and hmm, that's really weird
it's okay.
because I
You
just went in. I just went into the Facebook and grabbed the link out of the thing. So I'm sorry
is
that's
it,
not
is it a
coming up.
private group?
Yeah, that's
Maybe that's
probably why you can't see it.
yeah, no worries.
Anyway, and it also created the introduction for me. It created the questions that they're going to answer when they come in. It also created a pinned post graphic for me. So whenever I want to create a pinned post, it automatically has the graphic. I had the graphic saved. It created a welcome graphic, pinned post graphic, and it created a welcome when I welcome new members. It created a graphic for that as well. So all this stuff that we would normally have to create on our own for each, like when we welcome each individual person, we would have to, create a graphic. That all done for me and saved on my computer.
Love it.
So basically, it built out the whole group for me in about an hour and a half.
Nice.
And also with Chat GPT, the last two posts that I did were done. I just basically talked to it and told it my idea, and it created the post for me, and then created the graphic to go with it. Robert helped me with a little bit with the prompt on how to create the graphic, but it's amazing how AI can just make life so much easier for you and give you such professional looking posts, um, that people, can gravitate to without you having to think. All you have to do is if you hook your speaker up or your mic up to Chat GPT, you can just sit there and talk to it. I assume you have to have the upgraded version to talk to be able to talk to it, but it just makes life so much easier. You can just sit there and talk to it, and it will. And if it gets something wrong, you just say, "No, I want this, not that," and it will turn around. Like I had the header graphic was squishing everything. And so the top and bottom was cutting off. And I explained, no, I'm losing the top and bottom. It said, okay, I know what the problem is. Let me recreate it for you and do this. And it turned out and it created something that was, worked perfectly fine. So that's my share, as far as that's concerned. So I'm very, very excited about moving forward.
I love it, love it, love it. And thank you for all that details and the information. I'm looking forward to seeing those results ultimately, right? The things that we do, we want to get the data. Um, we want to get the data. It's very important to understand what I'm telling you. If you don't have the data and the numbers, then you're really kind of shooting blind. So I'm really, really happy that number one, you're coachable. B, you're embracing the artificial intelligence, and C, that you're diving in. So awesome stuff, awesome work. Looking forward to the results and the numbers, the data. That's what I ultimately want to see for you. I want to see it grow. I want to see it soar. So thank you for sharing, brother. Anyone else got some wins that they want to share?
I have one. I have one I'll
Awesome.
share. I think it's that same story of being consistent, present with what you do that eventually will open doors to new opportunities. And over the past month, I've been consistently working with an artist, and that has also introduced me to the rest of his network. And at one point, there was a conversation that was put on the table, converging ideas between me and a very technical savvy person in the realm of what is production, television production and such. And there was an idea of a podcast that was dropped on the table. And this weekend, we had a very elaborated meeting around it and started laying down the foundation for it. Um, the 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 What was really a win for me in this conversation is that usually I am the one that is putting forward these ideas, pushing forward for them to happen, and often enough also have to show a display of not just technical skills, but also have the equipment to actually manifest these type of production when we're talking video production or any type of thing involving a high value camera or a few hands on deck, which is one of my passions going into video, music, short type film environment, which was one of my initial passion. And in this case, in this conversation, in this exchange, the wheel was turning in the other direction. I wasn't the one really trying to push the idea forward, and all the equipment, all the 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 technical requirements to have such a projects are already delivered on in the space, and it's really just getting me to do what I usually do: think, process, elaborate, plan, align for the marketing or the rollout or the branding of the conversation, which made it very pleasant, right? Because usually I have to think of all these different direction, and I have to think in all these different directions to be able to drive the conversation. But in this one, I was really a passenger, just sharing and taking advantage of my interest in that conversation, which was really nice. And it opens up also a, um, a turning table or a platform to bring everything else, right? Which is again that fashion conversation, that music conversation, because it's really a podcast around art, the making of the DNA of each artist that are coming, which lines up with all this branding conversation that we're having. So I really have my seat at the table there without really forcing it, just being called to be consistently or remain consistent in the way I was introduced to the conversation and I've been operating so far. So it's really, really, it's, yeah,
That
was a
sounds
change.
cool. Clarify for me, will you be on these podcasts or you just help them get the idea together to run it?
As it is, I behind in front of the camera as well, as a host, as an anchor, as a speaker, as a project, really all in one, which is great.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Well,
But
congrats, bro. I like conversations like that happen. I mean, it makes me think about my saying I always say, everything happens for a reason. You might not know what that reason is right away, but this could lead to some huge things for you, brother.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome. And Rita, I want some of that pizza, girl. You're making me hungry. Thank you for sharing, brother.
For sure.
Anyone else got Rita, you want to share your wins?
Yes, of course. I find wins all the time. Um, Congrats,
Thank you
Vicky
too.
and Virgil. That is super cool. Dale, I see you out there in those internet streets, and thank you everyone for commenting on my post or showing some love. I really, really appreciate that. And I've actually learned the term "stay close to the fire," and reluctantly, because I didn't like this person always showing up in my feed. I didn't like her, and I saw and I always click her off, and I'm nope. And then the coach that we have says, "Hey, are you going to this AI business summit?" I was like, "No, I don't like her." So for no reason, and then that started needling me and needling me and needling me. Last minute, I jumped in. The best decision I could have made. When it talks about AI and the as a tool, not just because it scary stuff, but how you can use it to cut your work in half. Well, even less than that. But that just kind of pushed me to do a few things. Out of that, it was like a working, like they teach, you do, but they go like really, really fast. So they do have a replay of it. I wasn't going to purchase the replay, but my head was like, phew. So I said I better get the replay. I invested in that, and I heard somebody else say he was one of the speakers. He was saying that you invest all of this money, but the return that you're going to get. And let me share my returns. Coach was just talking about statistics, and I love stats. Get your numbers. One that the like a one of the activities we had was to create what they called a plushie, and a plushie looks like it's a mini you or mini me, whoever you make it in the image of. I got 1,300 views on that one, and it's still, the numbers are still coming. It even broke it down into the age groups. Let me tell you why that's important. Because just like Dale was talking about his audience, I would think my audience would be, my age group. Well, guess what? It is 65 years old and up, 36% of those. So now I'm honing my community, and 89% were followers, 10% non-followers. Okay, that's pretty good. I got excited. I was like, okay. Then I created another. What do you call it? I don't know. This graphic drawing.
Infographic.
A graphic. Okay, infographic.
Infographic.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I was just testing the waters of all these things that they said things could do. All of these different tools that we could use, and they were free. So I made one because I didn't understand an industry I had invested in. It's a great idea. It's like one of those things where I don't understand it, but it sounds like that makes a lot of sense to me. So, and it's in the crypto world, which I'm like, stop. No crypto. I don't get it. I don't understand it. So I said, but it makes sense to me the way they're processed, how it's processing systems. Oh, okay, let me jump in. Well, because I didn't understand it, I made the infographic so I could make me understand. Like, what does all this mean? I took all the ingredients, the things, the terms. Anyway, I put that within the group of this business summit. That one got 1,120 views.
Wow.
Now, let me go back to one of the posts, the mini me post. Somebody commented on that. She put out a post and she wanted some help. And I gave her a line that she could use to make people come back and talk to her instead. And it was something as simple as, do you want more information? Ask me. Or just ask me how. It was not meant for her to ask me how to get this done. But out of that conversation, she wants me to be on her podcast. So I was blown away, just from comments and input and the things that we were being taught. But so, lastly, I created my munchkins. My munchkins, and they are the plushies.
So cute.
My munchkins are Investor Izzy, Saver Sam, Spender Sky, and Builder Bree. Their whole family, they are adorable. I have them labeled. They're in my little group. You'll see them if you follow me on Facebook, or if you get notification. You'll see them appear. I have a plan to roll them out. This is just amazing. I'm so excited. So excited. So, Coach, thank you for the little push and the nudge, because I probably would have not been on there.
Love it. I love it. Yeah. A couple of things about that. She wasn't necessarily kicking and screaming, but she didn't want to go, and now I'm really glad that she did. I just want to reference that because again, that phrase "staying close to the fire" comes up to me, and you guys can get as close to this fire as you want. I'm always here. I'm not going anywhere, but the fire is not going to chase you down, right? So the closer you want to get to the fire, the better off you're going to be. Rena and I, as you know, we work closely together. She's always in my inbox. I'm in hers. She is definitely close to the fire. And what I love about that is that she doesn't like crypto, but she saw it as a good opportunity, something that was good, and said, I'll jump in now and I'll figure it out as I go. Not the best recommendation, but still cool because she said, hey, I see this as something that I could win with, jumped in, and then we'll figure it out. And then she went to work on all the newfound talent and AI stuff that she learned over the weekend, and still more to learn with the replays. and she just absolutely crushed it. Those numbers that you're hearing her talk about were what, 24, 48 hours ish, 72 hours at the most, which is pretty phenomenal. Mine, on the other hand, not so good as hers. So I say that because, again, going back to what she had referenced and also what Dale's talking about, we have to understand our audience, right? And if we're not getting those types of likes or views or stuff, we have to then also take a look at what's on our Facebook page and how can we correct that? How can we correct the audience? Best way is to find people that are directly in tune with you and start reaching out, inviting them to your groups, things of that nature, right? So for me, quick wins to mention, and thank you for sharing, Rita. We got the office moved. Don't know if you guys noticed, but there was a training that I went on. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the guy named Holton Bugs. He's one of the first internet marketers that actually has been able to make $1 million in a month. So I went on a free call that he was having. Ultimately, it's, the call, teach you a couple of things. Hey, do you want to join into our program? Not necessarily high ticket. It's pretty reasonably priced, in fact. But what I got off of that was kind of interesting because of all the things that I've learned in the past. And I'm going to share this with you guys so you know, and I'm not pointing any fingers at anybody, but just some of the information that was shared. You always hear me talk about making the best first impression, right? So they talked about that. He said, all the stuff in your background here, nobody cares about it. At one point in time, from what I was learning, it was all about setting the stage. And this is also coming from things that I know and have done before, right? You want to set the stage so that you have that best first impression. But if you have like certificates on your wall and all that stuff, just to be cool because, you achieve those things, those are all great. We're not taking that away from you, but no one cares about them. That's what was told to me, right? So if you remember from my last the office, we had my pictures up on the wall and my stuff. He said, get rid of it. He said it's better to have a blank slate behind your back, maybe one or two things that coincide with your message. The other thing that they mention is the sharing the background. Now, I'm going to say this, just don't take it the wrong way. You know why I'm saying this. The lost transition background is the best. But I want you guys to think if you're using a blurred background, right, and it's not some kind of graphic like the lost transition or something that's directly equated to what you're doing, like Dale's. Dale's is cool. He's got a boardroom and his name and information's there. Many people might think that you're hiding things, right? At the same time, too, you want to show the real you and who you are, right? Some of the things that I got off of that was if you're just looking like a plain Jane or a plain John, people aren't going to, they're not going to resonate with that. They're not going to be attracted to that. They're not going to see you as the person that will be able to resolve their issues, right? So I just want to mention that. Make sure that your background's as clean as possible. Try not to hide anything. This is, again, all the things that I've learned over the years. It's very important when you set up your staging area to where you're going to do your business and be on video. Make sure that it's nice and clean. Have something presentable. Make sure that you're seated sideways. I was like thinking I was cool with my camera off to the left here, you know? But then I look at all the other podcasters and stuff like that. Yeah, they're pretty much dead on center. So we made the change. We went from the other room that was my office, which was a little bit smaller, and moved it over into this bigger office. So we pulled the desk in here, got the massage chair, all the lighting set up and stuff. So I'm pretty happy about that. Way more space to play with. I mentioned the website. We were changing all those from HTML to PHP. Got a lot of that stuff done. Went to the AI Business Summit this weekend. Learned a lot of things. I also started the top speaker competition just for funds, only because I want to look at it as like enhancing my skill set, right? How could I be better at public speaking? So I started that. The first day was yesterday. It's actually 5 days long. They're tuning out, coming in from, shall I say, Australia. So it's a little bit later than I like to work. It's 5 o'clock in the four in the afternoon for me, which normally I'm playing video games by then. But I felt this was pretty important. So yesterday, day one was pretty cool. Today, unfortunately, I might be late because I got to get a tooth pulled today. Oh boy. But yeah, it was really nice meeting with Holton Bugs. Met with his son as well. Got to meet him. Had a few conversations. We went back and forth about website. I told him I'd been on mine for 8 months. He said, "Bro, I did a website in like 3 weeks." I'm like, "Well, before you start judging, Mr. Judgy Judge, I said, you don't know the issues that I've had with this artificial intelligence." Rita knows, and some of you guys might have heard me. I've had to rebuild this website probably about 4 times in the last 8 months, but we're coming to perfection. And then for my buddy Virgil there, and a shameless promo for one of my longtime friends, music people and artists. He's got some new music out. His name is Absolute, Absoloot. Dear friend of mine named Ramon Robinson, lives there in Florida, down in South Florida. If you like clean rap music without all the MFers and all that other crazy, stupid stuff, check him out. Absolute, Absoloot. Got to give him a shameless plug. And then finally, I don't know if you're paying attention, but this message is obviously for those that might be watching on YouTube. Are you paying attention to the price of silver, my friends? Silver broke $94.62. I'm looking at it right now. This year of 2026. I'm going to be focusing not only on the lost transition, but also on my gold and silver business to start growing that, help other people, attain more gold and silver because hopefully you're paying attention. But if you're not, the dollar, without getting into a conspiracy theory, the dollar is losing power, buying power, more and more, day by day. So you may want to consider uh, putting your money somewhere safe, like tangible assets like gold and silver. So if you're interested in anything like that, comment down below in the chat, and I will do my best to get back to you. But beyond that, we're a little bit out of time frame here. So let me go ahead and get this slide started. All right, here, and go through this information. Again, this is week 3. This is the story that you're telling yourself. And I want to repreface what I said at the very beginning. Some of you may have heard some of these things, right? Some of you may have heard some of these things. But what I really want you to do is I want you to take the time to let these things land. And the reason that I want you to let them land is because, again, you're dealing with myself and I deal with sales psychology. And if I can get you to land this in your brain, it's easier for me to try to help you get over that hump that you might have of any kind of limited beliefs. Okay. So this is in week 3, the story that you're telling yourself. Ultimately, I want to discuss this so that we can rewrite whatever your internal narrative is. And you guys will understand what I'm talking about as we go through these slides. So definitely take some notes and let's have some fun. So first off, I want to talk about the voice inside your head, okay? I personally, I look at the little voice inside of my head as kind of like I don't know, my spiritual guide, if you will. I'm not a crazy person. Yes, I hear voices just like you do. Typically, it's just my own little voice that's in my head that says, "Yeah, you could do this," or "Oh, I wouldn't do that," right? But there's this little narrator, if you will, in your mind that's telling you who you are. It's going to tell you what you're capable of, what you deserve, what's possible for someone like you. But here's the thing, most of the time you believe it without any question. This is what the problem is, right? This is what the issue is. So most people don't realize, but the story isn't fact, it's fiction. And you're the author. We'll say that again. The story that you tell yourself is not fact. It's fiction. You are the author. So where do those stories come from that get inside of your head? You don't write them. They come from everyone else. They come from your friends and family, right? How many of you heard, money doesn't grow on trees? Anyone of you ever heard that? Oh my God, I can't even tell you. I know some of you guys have heard it before. Even my own father, stepfather, would tell me, get your head out of the clouds. Go get a real job. And I never really liked that whenever he said it. There was something about that just rubbed me the wrong way. Where else does it come from? Teachers and authority. Right? You're not a math person. Be realistic about your goals. In fact, when I was going to school, I didn't like math. I didn't like history either. Now I love math and I love history. But these things also come from past failures, right? What did you try before that didn't work? Maybe you might be saying, oh, I'm not good at sales because maybe you tried to do sales before, but you didn't have my tutelage and you sucked at it because you were new. And that's what people do. We suck at things when we first start. And you probably failed and said, I'm not good at sales. In fact, a lot of people tell me, Robert, I'm not a born salesman. If you've been around me long enough, you know what I'm going to say, right? You've been selling since birth, my friends. The problem is some of you strayed away from that mindset or that mentality and don't look at it as a sale. The other thing that gets into our brain is whatever society and culture brings, right? I mentioned it earlier. My stepfather used to say, get a safe job. He'd say, get a real job. He couldn't understand the premise of the things that are actually happening in today's society, which is the ability to earn an income from home online. And now more and more, especially in the year 2026, and starting really even exponentially from the time of COVID, more and more people know now that they can work from home. Right? So, but here's the truth of the matter, right? These stories were all written by other people. They all have their own fears, they all have their own limits, right? You might have heard, oh, we're trying to protect you. But really what it was is they couldn't see your potential, right? Each and every one of you that is in this room, and even if you're watching on YouTube, has amazing potential. You just haven't tapped into it yet. Or maybe you're tapping into it, you need to tap into it a little bit more, right? It really saddens me to say this at this part of the presentation, but I feel that it's fitting and the universe is telling me to fit this in. I posted on Facebook yesterday that I found out about a loss of two people that I knew over the weekend. One of them was an elderly lady that we lived with and stayed with in Pecos, Texas before we moved here to Sinton. Found out that she passed away in November, right? But the worst one about this was the other fellow who was under 30 years old. He was the son of the gentleman that I worked with, not for, but with, when I was running the food truck stand that he had on his property. Come to find out that he committed suicide. The sad part about this is that his body wasn't found for at least a month. I don't know about you, but even when I think about that, I just think of how horrible that is to do something like that to yourself and then not be found for a whole month. I'm sure that he couldn't have ever expected that that would have been the situation or the case. But the sad part about the whole thing and why I'm bringing this up is because that guy had so much potential, my friends. So much potential and then wasted it. The story goes deeper, um, and it's actually quite tragic, but I choose not to get into that for the sake of the family. Um, but I could just imagine like how sad and how messed up that is for the family. Even myself, I was kind of taken back because I'll say this publicly, and I'm okay with saying this. I know depression. I know depression. I know it well. I know it well, my friends. And if you allow that depression to get to you and fall in that trap, it's a dangerous road. So I implore you, encourage you that if you ever feel negative, unwanted, unworthy, reach out. I am one of those people that will take your call. I will listen to your voice. In fact, I've got a few of my military brethren that they call me, and you know what they say? You're the only person that answers. Everybody else shirks them, leaves them alone. And I could just, it just again, it saddens me. And I don't want this to be a sad story, but it's important that we understand that we all have potential. And if you never tap into that potential, you're never going to grow, right? So enough of the sad stuff. There's 5 limiting stories that you've probably been telling yourself, and these are the stories that we need to get around. Right? One of them might be, I'm not smart enough, or talented enough, or experienced enough. I mentioned the fact that, people, when they first start, they suck. Don't expect that when you start something brand new that you have no clue about, that it's going to be super easy. Don't expect that you're going to just have unwavering success. It takes time. I tell my story all the time about how I thought it would be really easy because I was really good at closing people in direct marketing face to face, 100% closing. I thought it would be real easy to transfer over that talent and that skill set over to the network marketing profession. But it was a huge slap in the face for me. It was a huge dose of reality to understand that those two types of marketing are completely different. So that means we had to learn how to do the thing is that we need to learn, right? Maybe the second one might be people like me don't succeed at this. Talk about a big limited belief, right? That's an identity story that you're telling yourself that you're believing because other people put that on you. When you have so much capability, you have so many possibilities, right? Or maybe the third one, I've tried already and failed. I've seen this before many times, right? People go out there into the network marketing profession. They don't do so well, don't get a coach, don't get a mentor, don't get a trainer, don't learn. They don't succeed. I tried that already. It does work. Ergo, the negative mindset towards the best profession that's out there in the world. And why do I say that? Because you're never going to make $1 million at a job. It's not going to happen. Company owner? Yes, maybe. But you can become a millionaire through network marketing, right? I mentioned Holton Bugs. Phenomenal. Can you imagine making $1 million in 1 month? That just blows my mind when I look at and think about that. And then I want to put this into play too. And raise your hand if you agree with me. How many of you agree with me to say that if I had more money, I would do more things for more people? You don't all have to raise your hand, but if you believe the way that I do, raise your hand. You see, because for me, I'd love to go do some philanthropy. I would love to go help feed some homeless on the street. I would love to be able to do these things that I see literally in YouTube videos, people doing and monetizing it within YouTube to do those types of things. Right? Can you imagine though making that kind of money? It's crazy money. Number 4, it's too late for me. I'm too old. Man, I know people in this industry that are 60, 70, 80 years old. I had a chat with one of my friends that's 66. I'm 56 going on 27. Age doesn't mean a thing. Nothing. So let's get that out of your head. And then last but finally, I don't deserve success. This is a huge sabotage. If you don't feel that you deserve it, you will never, ever, ever obtain it. Which is why, again, I want to point out that the mindset of this entire industry is so, so important. That's why you hear people, coaches like myself and mentors and all these other people that know already. That's why we try to beat that into your head, if you will, for lack of better terms. Right? So those are 5 limited stories. I hope you're not telling yourself any one of those. And if you are, reminds me of the cute little video from Bob Newhart. Stop it! If you know, you know. But look, your story becomes your reality, okay? Here's how those limiting stories actually work against you. We'll talk about that. Your story might be, oops, one second here. Back here, back here. Your story might be something like, I'm bad at sales, right? We talked about that. Hey, you've been selling since birth. Might leave you feeling of like anxiety, right? This is really big if you're paying attention to what I'm telling you, because this is what stops a lot of people from actually taking action, right? And there goes the avoidance. So you avoid doing it because you have anxiety, because you don't feel that you're good at sales. Now, what's the action? You avoid the conversations. The conversations are what's most important for you to build that business, which is why we talk about doing the 5 conversations per hour with qualified prospects, just to be clear. Okay. And then what happens? No sales. So when that happens, your subconscious mind, you just like reiterated into your subconscious mind that you're bad at sales, which increases the anxiety, which increases the avoidance, which increases the avoid conversations. Okay. Please, please do not live like a recluse. Do not live inside a bubble. Do not live to yourself. You cannot do this on your own. Get help. Okay. So let's get you out of that cycle. Your story is going to create the feelings. Feelings drive actions. Actions produce results. Results confirm that story. So we have to now change the story, change the cycle, and then boom, you change your life. Right. One of the things that we worked on over the weekend was our little motto. And I said something like, I just changed my life. I just changed who I am, and life responds. It really can be that easy. You hear me talk a lot about personal development. That's realistically what this industry is about. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. But little by little, we become better. Little by little, we learn how to tell stories. Little by little, we learn how to ask those questions. We learn how to do those posts. We learn how to use the artificial intelligence. But again, you're the one that's able to write or rewrite your story from whatever narrative it is, right? So here's the rewrite framework, so you know how to rewrite what it is that you're literally writing in your mind, maybe even without knowing it. First step, catch it. Or my favorite word, awareness, right? Notice whenever limiting story plays in your head, name it. There. That's not good enough story again. Awareness is the first step to change. Even as I was on the conversation with Trey Bugs, Holton's son, I had said something, and immediately when I said it, I said, I don't want to have any limited beliefs. Like that's what I did. I automatically, I'm at that point in life to where I catch that shit automatically. It's like, oh, awareness. Whoa, that shouldn't have came out of my mouth. Right? So awareness or catching it. Second is to challenge it. Ask, is this actually true? What evidence do I have? Who wrote this story in my brain? And do they get to decide my future? I say absolutely not. Right? But most of those stories will crumble under examination. But if you never examine them, it goes right by. It's almost like the red car theory that we talk about. You'll never see it. You won't have that awareness. So then, therefore, it will never appear. And then third is choose it. Choose what you want that story to be. Write a new story that serves you. Not some fantasy, not a believable upgrade, right? I'm learning sales beats. I'm bad at sales, right? You don't have to be the best. You don't have to know it all. In fact, there's times that I don't know the answer. What do I say? I'll find out and I'll get back to you, right? As long as you're there to help that other person get over the hump, that's really what matters, right? But if you're sitting there, you're telling yourself these negative things, we need to break you from that cycle. Again, mindset is so, so important. Once you understand this and you can change the mindset internally, externally, things start to happen. They will start to appear in your life. And you might think I'm full of shit. Try it. Test me. Because I see it all the time. It happens to me all the time. I might worry about paying off a bill. Then guess what? A check comes in the mail. A new student arrives. Something happens, right? So take notes, take a snapshot, whatever it is. Let's catch it, challenge it, choose it. So rewriting in action, we're going to go through these slides pretty quick now because we're almost out of time. Old story, I'm not a salesperson. Here's the new story. I'm someone who helps people solve problems. I'm a solution provider, maybe. Maybe the old story is I always fail at business. Change that to a new story. I've collected lessons that are making me better. Right? If you're watching that on YouTube, you've heard our friends and students in here talking about the things that they are currently doing to learn to make themselves better. Maybe your old story is, I'm too old to start over. Maybe your new story should be my experience gives me an advantage others don't have. I mentioned this. Age is not a factor when it comes to network marketing or being an entrepreneur. What was it? I think KFC, the colonel was like over 50, 67 years old, something like that, before he got wildly famous. And it was like an old school virality thing that all of a sudden everybody wanted some KFC, right? Or maybe your old story is I don't know the right people, which we kind of talked about audience in here. New story, every person I meet is a door to someone new. Or it might be, hey, I don't know the right people. Instead of that, I got to go find the right people, right? I want to point out that all this is just a difference in your verbiage, what's coming out of your mouth. And whatever's coming out of your mouth is going to be proven true by your subconscious. Okay? So let's rewrite that story. But again, the story that you tell yourself becomes the life that you live, my friends. What you have to do is tell a better story to live a better life. Now, this week, I want you guys to do this. This is your assignment, your homework, if you will. Number one, the story audit. Write down 3 limited stories to tell yourself regularly. But be honest, right? And if you don't think you have 3, think about it a little bit. You might have 1 or 2 in there, right? About your personal feelings, belief. It doesn't necessarily have to be about network marketing or entrepreneurialism. It can be about anything, right? It could be about anything. And then 2, evidence hunt. For each limited story, find 3 pieces of evidence that contradict the negativity that you're feeding into your brain. Like the times you succeeded, people who believed in you, progress you've made. And then 3rd, write your new story. Create 3 upgraded stories, believable, empowering versions. Read them aloud every morning. Your brain believes what you repeat. I just said that. Many of you guys know some of my phrases that I've been saying for years. Good, better, best, never let it rest till your good is better and your better is best. People ask me, hey, how you doing today? Man, if I was any better, I'd be twins. Right? It's the positive self-talk that you have to get out of and reframe or rewire the brain in the way that it conducts the messages through your brain and out to your mouth and out to the public. Right? So let's rewrite it. So here's a couple of key takeaways that you should pull from this. And I got this changed for 2 weeks. I'm going to ask you guys, I'm going to start asking you, what are your takeaways from what we're talking about today? The key takeaways I want you to take is that you're not your story, right? The narrative that was in your head was written by others, your parents, your teachers, your past failures, maybe even your past girlfriends, wives, or boyfriends or husbands. It's fiction, not fact. Second, stories become self-fulfilling. Your story creates feelings. Feelings drive actions. Actions produce results that confirm the story. So keep telling yourself, keep saying that story. You want to be a millionaire and live down by the beach? Keep telling yourself, I'm on my way to being a millionaire and living on the beach. I'm on my way to be a millionaire and living on the beach. I'm on my way to be a millionaire and living by the beach. You can write at any time, rewrite at any time, right? No matter what the story is, you can sit down there and rewrite it. It's just like you authoring the book, right? But those new stories must be believable, right? They can't be fantasy. They need to be real so that you can actually attain them. But the story that you tell yourself becomes the life you live. As I mentioned, all you got to do is just tell a better story, right? I want you to remember as we close and open it up for any final comments or questions, you're not your story, okay? You are the author. The narrative running in your head was written by others, but the pen is in your hands now. So I trust that you guys got some value. If you got any questions or feedback, feel free to open up your mics. Next week, we're going to be talking about fear is a liar and how to overcome that fear of rejection once and for all. So anybody got any final thoughts, takeaways, questions, or comments?
Hey, Coach. So the what is in alignment with what you're saying is that the exercise they had us to create when we had to create our core mantra. So
Yeah.
by putting in that information, that's something, and out of that was created something that the kids, and I'm gonna, you know how you always begin your live with, "Hey, boys and girls."
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I've got a different one. So
Cool.
which is it's the mantra that speaks to what they're telling themselves. So I'm really excited about that. So it's definitely in alignment. Thank you.
You know, Diane, she's like, why do you say boys and girls? They're men and women. I'm like, they're still boys and girls.
Look, tell her we're big kids. That's how
Yeah,
I identify.
exactly,
I'm a
exactly.
big kid and I'll never stop being one.
I'm a Toys R Us kid. Go ahead, Vicky. What you got?
What really resonates with me is, I've been working on my story and sharing more of my story. And I believe so wholeheartedly in what you said here. And I think it's great. But really all I need to do is rewrite the story,
That's
you
it.
know? But what really resonated with me this weekend, we had a bunch of company, family from out of town. We had my uncle's celebration of life. He had passed away in September, but the Florida folks couldn't go to the funeral, so we had like a celebration of life for all the Florida folks. Well, being around all this family, and it dredged up a lot of emotion, and it dredged up a lot of question of self-worth, you know.
Sure.
And I consider it another win that when I felt like something was triggering me or going to make me fall backwards from all I've learned and move forward from
Mhm.
this the last 2 years, I just walked away. And I kept, and I just kept my cool. I didn't let them get to me
Love it.
like they would have before. I didn't allow that toxicity back in my life.
Love
And
it.
I'm proud of myself for that, because that was a lot. I had so much mindset stuff to get rid of.
Yeah.
I don't want to be like they tell in their story.
Yeah.
I want to tell my story and
Amen.
be proud of my actions and be happy with and satisfied with Vicky Osgood Watley. And so I didn't let that occur. And I
Amen.
think that resonates very well with what you're saying here. And it just
Awesome.
makes me that much more determined. So love you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Amen, my friend. And congratulations on that. right? It's easy to fall back into old patterns and old habits. But once you start breaking free from going back, there's no place else to go but forward, right? So kudos to you. Congratulations, my friend. Thank you for sharing. Dale, what you got, brother?
I missed one or two of the slides capturing pictures.
Okay.
Can you put
Yep.
in the chat the is there a link we can go to grab the
Yeah, I could do that. Let me see
so we
here.
can go back and grab the slides
Yep.
so I can write down what I missed.
Certainly, certainly, brother. Let me share those with you right now. General
And
access.
then I gotta go because I gotta drop clothes off to my wife
No
because she
problem, brother.
otherwise she's gonna be running around naked in the rehab center,
Yeah,
and
we
that's not good.
don't want Let me drop this in there for you. You can click on it and you can
Thank
run.
thank you.
And again, thank you all for showing up. Thank you for being close to the fire. Thank you for, being part of this Monday mastermind for the amount of time that you have.
Yeah,
Really
this is gonna be a big one for me because
good.
there's a lot of limiting beliefs running around in my head that
Cool.
I fight with every day. So
Let's smash those, brother. Let's smash them. Let's smash them. We'll do it together, man. So thank you all for being here. You make my day, my week, my life, everything. So thank you from me to you. Go out there and let's go kick some ass, take some names. Have a fantastic week. Toot toot. Love you. Bye bye.
See you tomorrow as well.
Yes.
Yep.
How to Tuesdays and Wednesdays.
Bye, everybody.